Hi, guys. This is part 3 of our conversation with Rebel Good. He does the Court of Appeals column in Tennis Magazine, has officiated U.S. Open events, Olympics, and numerous Davis Cup and Fed Cup events. I feel like after talking to him, I'm finally starting to understand when you call a let versus claim the point. But here is part 3. Can I do the next one? Because I've actually had this one happen to me too, which is, can you ever call a foot fault in adult recreational tennis?
Before I answer it, let me ask you, have you ever tried?
No, I haven't, but someone wanted to call it on me.
Oh.
And we had another guest on that someone called it on them in a match tiebreak, and they lost that match.
For the first time. And then for the first time, he hit an ace to make it 11-9 or something like that in match tiebreak. Yeah. And the guy goes, nope, that was a foot fault.
Foot fault.
Second serve.
Yeah.
Gotta admire the chutzpah there.
Exactly.
Okay. This is a part of the code, an item in the code that I happen to disagree with. And I've written about it in my column, in which basically what I've said is if any match in which a player calls, any unofficiated match in which a player calls a foot fault on their opponent is going to end badly. That's all I can say. It's going to end badly.
Yes.
There is a provision in the code that says that if you have warned your opponent about their foot faulting, and if you have sought unsuccessfully to get an official to come to your court to deal with it, and if the foot faulting continues and is egregious, then indeed you can call a foot fault on your opponent. But that's a pretty lengthy process in itself.
Yeah, that seems like a really high standard.
Well, the suggestion that I made, and boy, did I get some feedback on it, in Tennis Magazine was, if your opponent is foot faulting egregiously, let's remember, most people in recreational tennis are not serve and volleyers. So the fact is that they're not really getting much of an edge, if any, by the fact that they foot faulted. But if they're, stepping, they're not stepping on the line, they're stepping into the green,
right.
All the way in, or they're coming in or whatever. And you just feel like they're gaining an advantage. And you have said, I can see you foot faulting pretty seriously. You need to stop, and you go through that. My suggestion is just the next time it's your serve, move in about 8 feet and hit your serve. And when they ask you what you're doing, just simply say, we're not calling foot faults, are we?
Right. Was that your answer in the column? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
And the feedback
How could you say something like that?
Right.
Well, it's just, I know it can be very frustrating to someone who goes, my opponent is not playing by the rules, and there seems to be no recourse on my part. And they don't seem to understand that what they're doing is as much a violation of the rules as, hitting ball out. So, sometimes you have to bring their attention into focus.
I love it.
I do too. That's great. Rebel, you've actually gone over this, but if you could just go over it one more time, because I do think this is the issue where people are always like, what do we do in this situation? If you could just do this one more time, which is generally, when would you call let versus claim a point?
Okay. The first thing is don't open your mouth and call a let unless you've been hindered. So we have people who are trying to be nice and call lets all over the place. I thought you were hindered by that was happening at your end of the court, so I called a let. Or even worse, you're standing on a court and you call a let because of something you see happening on the court next to you. You're yelling over to their court, telling them they've got a let. It's not your business. You're a spectator to that match, and you don't have a role in that match as a spectator. But back to just self-contained within your match, don't call a let unless you or your partner has been hindered. And then once you've got that word out going, I've been hindered, now you dig down into, was I hindered because of the intentional act of my opponent, in which case I will win the point? Or was it an unintentional act of the opponent? Or was it some outside force that created the hindrance, in which case we're replaying the point?
That's a really good way to think about it.
You work through it. Don't say let unless you've been hindered, and then work out whether the hindrance was intentional or unintentional.
Yeah.
And if it's intentional, it's my point. If it's
your point.
unintentional, we replay.
Exactly.
I like it. Simplified it. I like it. I needed it simplified. Too many complicated questions, but that's your simple answer.
Could I add one more situation, because it is the one that other than the ball spinning back over the net, I get more questions on, and because of the way I've answered this, more complaints, you might say.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure this happens to you, and it's a variation of something that you asked me. But you're at the net in doubles. Your opponent whistles a shot by you, and you think it's going out, and you want your partner to let it bounce. And so you yell out, and then it lands, on the baseline, and your partner is going, "No, it's good," and is swinging and hitting the ball back again. Your opponents catch the ball and say, "That's our point." And you go, "Why?" And they go, "Well, you called the ball out and then reversed your call." You say, "I didn't call the ball out. I was just telling how could I call a ball out? It was in the air. You can't call a ball out until it lands." And I was just telling my partner to let the ball drop. There are, I can't remember, 100,000, 200,000 words in the English language, and one of them, out, is a call in tennis.
Yes.
And whether it ball had landed or not doesn't make any difference as far as I'm concerned. If you yelling out hindered your opponent, i.e. they stopped play because they went, "Oh, they're calling the ball out," then you have to live with that. If you don't want this to happen, use a different word.
Right. Any other word.
Say no. Say bounce it. Something like that. But if your opponents use the word out and then play the ball as good, I would say stop play and claim the point.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is you have to stop play.
Yeah.
You can't keep playing and then at the end of the point go, "Well, you did this." That's all.
Yeah. I think that's what happens is people end up playing the point, and then if they win the point, then they're okay with the ball being called out. But if they lose it, then they go, "Well, I was hindered 3 shots ago."
Right.
And there's another part of that too, which is too many recreational players call balls good.
Interesting.
They open their mouth. They say, "It's good, it's in," or something like that on a close ball.
Oh.
That's in or good is not a call. The call is out. And so don't open your mouth to tell your opponents that their shot is in. We're going to assume it's in unless you call it out.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So people shouldn't be yelling in as they're hitting the ball either.
No.
Yeah, because that would then it may hinder the other side, right?
Yeah.
It's like saying good shot.
And hitting it back as you're
and then hitting it back. Great shot. And then hit it.
And I know you all
be talking through the whole point.
Recreational tennis is a sociable game. Right. And you talk a lot, but you don't have to talk during the points. But I just see this so often, which is particularly like balls on the baseline, and your partner's at the net and the player in the backcourt is yelling, "It's in," because they're telling their partner that they're still playing. Well, partner also ought to just keep playing until they hear an out call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We can't thank Rebel enough for talking with us. I think what he says is correct, that we all need to read Friend at Court so we're all on the same page as far as the general rules. And then we can walk through the process he mentioned for calling hindrances, for the gray areas or situations that aren't specifically addressed in the rules. We have included in the show notes a link to his Stump the Ump section for Western Wake Tennis Association. And if you'd like to see a picture of Rebel, please go to our website, which is secondservepodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the courts soon.